To achieve greatness, one must first conquer his mind. The most extraordinary feats in history didn't begin with action, but with mindset, a way of thinking that shattered limits, defied the norm, and changed the world. Throughout history, a few individuals broke through barriers and transformed the world in unimaginable ways. These were not just great people, they redefined what greatness truly is. Their stories are powerful examples of a mindset that transcends fear, challenges boundaries, and leaves an indelible mark on humanity. One of these legends is Alexander the Great, renowned not just for the empire he built, but for his unrelenting ambition, strategic brilliance, and vision. From his early years, Alexander was shaped by one of the greatest minds of history, Aristotle. Under Aristotle's guidance, he learned philosophy, science, and leadership, embedding virtues like courage, wisdom, and temperance deep within him. These principles influenced how he would later approach leadership and conquest. Aristotle's philosophy emphasized the pursuit of eudaimonia, a life of flourishing through balance and excellence. Alexander's approach to diplomacy mirrored this, especially after conquering Thebes, where he spared Athens, opting for wisdom over destruction. Instead of obliterating the city, he sought unity, showing respect for its culture and consolidating power. His careful balance of force and diplomacy reflected Aristotle's ideals of virtuous leadership. However, as Alexander's empire expanded, his drive led him toward excess. Aristotle's golden mean suggests virtue lies between extremes. While Alexander's early actions demonstrated balance, his later campaigns, driven by an insatiable thirst for conquest, raised questions about whether his ambition had surpassed virtuous limits. Is true greatness a product of ambition, or does it become destructive when unchecked? Centuries later, Friedrich Nietzsche introduced the idea of the Übermensch, a figure who transcends societal norms and creates his own values. The Übermensch pushes humanity to new heights through willpower, defying traditional morality. In many ways, Alexander the Great embodied this ideal. He was not content to follow the conventional path of his predecessors. He sought to redefine what was possible, like his audacious campaign into Persia with a small army, defying all expectations. Once in power, Alexander pursued an unconventional vision of cultural fusion, adopting Persian customs and encouraging marriage between Macedonians and Persians. This was not merely an empire-building strategy, it was a radical break from tradition, a move to unite people across cultures. However, Nietzsche's Übermensch is an ideal that transcends human limitations, and Alexander's eventual death at the age of 32 reminds us of the inevitable fragility of even the greatest among us. His godlike aspirations were cut short by illness, and the empire he built crumbled shortly after his passing. This contrast between Nietzsche's Übermensch and Alexander's mortality prompts us to reflect. Was Alexander the Übermensch reshaping the world with his vision, or does his story remind us that even the greatest figures are bound by human limitations? Alexander's greatness was not solely a product of his ambition, it also stemmed from his brilliance as a military strategist. One of his most remarkable victories was at the Battle of Gaugamela, where his smaller army triumphed over the vastly larger Persian forces led by Darius III. But this was not his only demonstration of genius. The siege of Tyre offers another glimpse into Alexander's mastery. Tyre was an island city, fortified by strong walls and seemingly impregnable. In an extraordinary move, Alexander ordered the construction of a causeway to connect the island to the mainland, effectively turning the sea into solid ground for his army. This feat of engineering, combined with his unwavering determination, showcased his ability to adapt and overcome impossible challenges. Philosophically, Alexander's military genius aligns with Sun Tzu's The Art of War, which emphasizes understanding both oneself and the enemy, as well as the importance of adaptability. Alexander embodied these principles, demonstrating a seamless blend of preparation and instinct. Yet this mastery of warfare brings us to a deeper question. Does true greatness in war contribute to the betterment of humanity, or does it reduce greatness to mere conquest? Alexander's campaigns brought suffering and destruction to many, even as they reshaped the political and cultural landscape. Can military genius truly be considered greatness, or does it highlight the darker side of human ambition? As Alexander pushed further east, reaching the borders of India, his ambition began to show its limits. His soldiers, weary after years of campaigning, faced unfamiliar terrain and harsh climates. For the first time, Alexander encountered resistance not from his enemies, but from his own men who refused to march any further. This moment of mutiny was a pivotal turning point in Alexander's career, a clash between his boundless ambition and the human endurance of those he led. It forces us to question, how far can one person push before the pursuit of greatness begins to fracture loyalty and unity? This moment also invites reflection through the lens of Eastern philosophy, particularly Taoism, and the concept of Wu Wei, which emphasizes effortless action in harmony with the natural flow of life. This stands in stark contrast to Alexander's relentless drive, which sought to defy the natural boundaries of time and space. Alexander's refusal to acknowledge these limits raises a profound question. When does ambition, once a virtue, become a flaw? His determination led to unparalleled achievements, but it also caused exhaustion, defection, and the eventual fragmentation of his empire after his death. Can ambition, a force that drives human progress, also carry the seeds of its own destruction? Alexander's relentless ambition came at a great personal cost. Despite his military triumphs and grand vision, he paid the ultimate price for his drive. When Alexander died at the age of 32, there was no clear successor to his throne. What followed was chaos. His generals, unable to agree on a unified plan, divided his empire, leading to years of conflict and fragmentation. The price of his greatness extended far beyond his own life. The lands he conquered were forever changed, cities were destroyed, cultures disrupted, and countless lives lost in the wake of his ambition. Alexander's story doesn't end with his death, though. His legacy has endured for over 2 millennia, inspiring leaders, generals, and thinkers across the world. Cities he founded, like Alexandria in Egypt, became centers of culture and learning, bridging civilizations and leaving a mark on history that continues to influence us today. From a philosophical standpoint, Alexander's legacy invites comparison to both Aristotle's and Nietzsche's ideas. Aristotle might argue that Alexander's failure to balance ambition with prudence led to his downfall, as his disregard for the golden mean made his ambition excessive and self-destructive. Nietzsche, on the other hand, might view Alexander as a flawed Übermensch, one who redefined human possibilities, but whose mortality exposed the inherent limits of greatness. Alexander's audacious efforts to fuse cultures and his godlike aspirations fit Nietzsche's concept of the Übermensch, yet his inability to sustain his empire highlights the fragility of human greatness. His story challenges us to reconsider what true greatness is. Was it defined by his conquests or by his vision to unite the world? Or does his tale serve as a reminder that all greatness, no matter how extraordinary, is bound by human fragility?